Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Liberty Minute. Today's episode is brought to you with the help of Blackout Coffee Company, the pro-Second Amendment coffee company that has everything from flavored medium roasts to their bold 1776 blend. Check out the link down in the description to snag yourself a cup today. Last week, Rudy Giuliani found himself on the wrong end of an FBI raid of his office and apartment. Little information has been made public, but the raid is linked to an investigation into Giuliani's dealings in Ukraine, because looking for info on the Bidens is way worse than actually being the Bidens when it comes to bad foreign business deals. During the media uproar, the Washington Post, New York Times, and NBC all reported that in 2019, the FBI warned Giuliani that he was the target of a Russian disinformation campaign geared towards smearing the Biden family before the election. The Times went so far as to say that the FBI warned him that he was pushing fake news about the Bidens at Russia's bidding, and all three reported that OAN had received the same briefing. Maury's lie detector test has determined that was a lie. All three outlets issued a retraction on Saturday. NBC claimed that the briefing had been prepared but was never actually given to Giuliani out of fear that it would complicate the criminal investigation he is currently under, while the Times stated that the briefing never happened at all and that the two issues were completely separate. Meanwhile, CNN stuck with the story, and even while everyone else was retracting it, Wolf Blitzer talked about the Washington Post report, minus the retraction, and even had a correspondent on to talk about how this warning was such a very bad and very big deal, even though we now know that it never happened. Also this weekend, we learned that it's not just Americans that worry that their country is on the brink of a civil war. In France, about 1,000 current and retired service members, including generals, penned a letter to the French president warning him that the country is going down a very dark path. The letter blamed issues eerily similar to the current political climate of the United States. Specifically, the letter blamed hyperpartisanism and those using it to create divisions within communities, claimed that the anti-racism movement was seeking to create a race war by attacking historical symbols of French culture and identity, and also asserted that the government was using its police force, both as proxy agents and scapegoats for oppression. While the letter was condemned by the government and the media, a new poll finds that 58% of French citizens agreed with the letter, and that nearly 75% believe that the so-called anti-racism movement is actually having the opposite effect and making race relations worse. SpaceX has now officially and successfully completed its first crewed mission to the International Space Station. 4 astronauts returned to Earth early Sunday morning, splashing down in the Gulf of Mexico. SpaceX's next crewed flight is scheduled to launch in September. Mitt Romney spoke at Utah's GOP organizing convention and was nearly booed off the stage by the 2,100 delegates gathered there. Romney responded by telling the crowd that they should be embarrassed for themselves. He assured the crowd that he's a Republican and has always been a Republican, though the conservatives of Massachusetts would disagree, and then ruined it by saying that Joe Biden is a nice guy with good intentions. Also in news you might have missed, Connecticut has officially banned religious exemptions from mandatory school vaccines. Governor Lamont signed the bill into law last Wednesday. The bill includes a provision that says parents may still choose not to vaccinate their children on medical grounds, but that those children will no longer be able to attend public or private school or higher education, or even daycare without special approval, which I'm pretty sure is how parents end up with visits from Child Protective Services and the police. The bill also requires schools to publish data to the public about how many vaccinated students they have, and requires cities and towns to pay to cover children's vaccinations. Senator Tim Scott, who just so happens to be a black man, delivered the GOP's rebuttal to Biden's speech last week. He said that despite empty platitudes to unite the nation, that Biden has so far in his first 100 days been divisive, extreme, and riddled everything with runaway spending. The left responded with an Uncle Tim hashtag that trended on Twitter for over 12 hours, with silence from the NAACP and BLM, despite Twitter previously banning or taking down other hashtags for far less. In Texas, a freshman chairman for the Lamar County Democratic Party took to Facebook and called Scott an Oreo, which has now led to Governor Greg Abbott to call for his resignation. The post has since been deleted. That's your update on the weekend's news. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you liked this video, please check out my channel for weekly live streams as well as other videos on dedicated liberty topics. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.